Welcome to Unleash Your Healing Vibes podcast, where we talk about the many generational curses that can plague you and look at ways to break the cycle and free yourself from ancestral trauma and transform your life to the life you came here to live. My name is Alicia Ramella, and today's podcast discussion will be on the harmony of the body, the soul, and the spirit. So, today we're going to talk about the importance of harmony. While I think you need to try to get along with the people in your life, that's not the type of harmony that I'm talking about today. I want to go deep into the harmony within. So, your physical body and organs and your emotional, mental, spiritual bodies are all aligned. So, when this happens, you have an inner peace or inner harmony. So, what type of daily habits can we get into to work on this? Let's look closer at the four bodies I'm referring to here. I'm not saying that there's only four bodies, but the four that I want to focus on today. They include the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body, and the physical body. So, having a healthy body and a healthy life means that you will want to ensure that all of these bodies are balanced and working together in harmony and not in opposition to each other. So often, our intellectual mind will conflict with, say, our emotional or spiritual bodies. So, for example, you have this feeling of sadness, but your intelligent, logical mind tells you to get over it. You have work to do. However, your intuition, your spiritual body, may be asking you to dig a little bit deeper into the sadness. Like there's just more to it. So you wind up in a confused state and you may get tired or just feel off. Instead, we want to learn how to dial our logical mind or intellectual mind down a little bit so that we can hear the other bodies a little bit more clearly. The world has kind of conditioned us to use our logic and reasoning mind more so than the rest. Go to school, learn ridiculous, useless facts, then regurgitate them, forget them, get a job, continue to use your mind. But not all of us are wired this way. Take artists, musicians, or people that use their creativity to make a living. These people are tuned into the emotional and spiritual bodies more so than other people. However, sometimes that can go off balance. So you can spend all your time in dreamland or the higher worlds, and you might come up with some pretty cool pieces of art, but then you might forget to survive basic necessities like paying the bills or eat or sleep properly. So you definitely have all of these bodies, and you want them in balance. Sometimes they're not, and sometimes they're in opposition with each other. But if you want optimal health, you want to work to balance all four of these bodies and listen to them when each makes sense. So let's break down the four bodies a little bit. First, I want to talk about the physical body. So when you think of your physical body, this is your what you think of when you think of health generally. People, well, I'm healthy because I work out, do exercises, I eat right, sleep well, maybe take supplements and herbs, fast 2 or 3 times a year. This is our physical health, and usually we're in good shape if we focus on some of these things. Your physical body is essential. This is where our soul lives. So it is important to take care of our physical body. Eating right, sleeping right, exercising, and all of those things are very important to keep up with the physical body. But what about stress and emotions? When we don't process emotions and instead we bottle them up, we're not helping our physical body at all. In actuality, what we're doing is an injustice to our physical body. Trapped emotions and stress can both cause issues in your physical body. And stress is like a silent killer. The more stressed out you are, the harder it is on your body, your organs, and your nervous system. constant fight or flight is just not good for your body. You know, the people who are continually stressed out and have a heart attack or a stroke or some other type of health issue because their body's trying to communicate with them, like, hey, it's a good idea to stop stressing so much. So, from my experience, a great way to work on balancing out the physical body is movement. And not all types of movement is going to work for you. For example, I won't enjoy a long distance run every morning. I would have an asthma attack, my abs would be on fire, and it would definitely just not be a fulfilling experience for me at all. However, that type of movement each morning may be exactly what works for someone else. So try to think of 5 to 10 different types of movement that you've done in the past or you would like to try that have made you feel good inside. So, for example, I would pick, let's see, swimming, dancing, qigong, yoga, and playing volleyball. When I get a chance to engage in these movement activities, I can use them to shift my mood or even my mindset. So, if a feeling would come up that's negative or I feel off, and I would do these movements, they would clear up and go away. Um, and you may have a totally different list, and that's great. Um, you might change your mind 15 times. Like what felt good for you at 14 may not feel so good at 44. But the point is to find the movements that feel good to you in your body, and this is how you will be able to keep your physical body balanced and in harmony with the rest of you. Another aspect of the physical body is food. I could go on for hours, but I'll keep this as brief as I can. If if you would cut out like processed food and fast food, alcohol, pop, flavored drinks, fad diets, certain protein shakes, and instead add more healthy, raw, natural, high vibrational food into your body, um, and stuff that provides your body with nutrition. High quality, good food will not only raise your vibration, but it will keep you healthy. But on the other hand, low quality food with heavy metals, glyphosate, and all kinds of unnecessary toxins are not. If you can't get like locally sourced or organic foods, then I suggest you try to get some high quality organic supplements that can provide you with some of the nutrients that are just depleted in most of the foods that we get from the stores. Um, but you could also try blessing your food before you eat it. Even if all you can afford is the cheaper foods, then bless it before you eat it. You can raise the vibration by blessing your food and thanking the earth, God, the farmers, the animals, or whoever else you want to thank before you consume it. Even not so great food can be brought up and be better for you if you learn to bless it before you eat it. Another thing to think about is what did your ancestors eat? What did your parents grow up eating? These types of foods will already be good for your DNA. So find out what your ancestors ate and try to recreate that. See how good it does for you. So if your great grandparents ate cabbage often, grow some cabbage and notice how good it tastes and how good it feels to your body after you've eaten it. People have forgotten how essential these traditions and things that go on with your family actually are. So if it's good for your ancestors, it's going to be good for you. And of course, we want to get a good night's rest. I could go on forever about sleep deprivation, but I won't. I also don't think that you need 8 hours a night or else for restorative functioning. I think everybody's physical body is unique and you know your own edge. For example, in my early 20s, I could run on 1 to 2 hours of sleep and still function at a fairly high mental capacity, at least in college for those, regurgitating purposes. But now I tend to spend maybe 5 to 6 hours, and I'm good. Now, 8 hours will make me feel too tired and useless the next day. So I don't advocate for a specific number. You'll figure that out on your own. But the thing to do is try to get the sleep you need and get on some kind of a schedule. All four of our energetic bodies will work better if you're on a routine and structure throughout your day. Okay, so let's move on to the emotional body. The emotional body is where all of your emotions are stored. Every emotion that you have is ever had is felt and stored within this emotional body. So when a feeling arises, we tend to tie it back to another time that we felt a similar experience, and then our emotional body labels this new experience as that emotion that we felt on the past experience. So, and our nervous system and our endocrine systems, they also play a part in the emotional body. Think of the emotional body as like a water element. You know, water flows around, and so do healthy emotions. The trouble arises when we feel one and then we identify as that emotion. This is how people feel like a rush of anger and then they stay that way for days and days. The idea is to let these emotions flow naturally. Don't identify with them, but also don't ignore them and repress them either. They will not go away if you just pretend they're not there. They may get stuck in another part of the body. Our subconscious mind deals with emotions. If they're not properly felt, observed, and let go, they can get stuck. And stuck emotions are just no fun. The emotions will eventually turn into energy and then they will find a way to get released in often an unhealthy way. So, like, have you ever been upset and pushed it down and down until one day you just exploded like a volcano over a bowl on the counter? Like, that's sort of an inappropriate reaction to a bowl being left out, but you got upset and everything that you've been holding in for 2 or 3 weeks just flooded out with it, like a volcano. You can go the other way too, though. Like, so if you identify with an emotion like sadness or grief, for example, and you turn on the waterworks all day for like 2 weeks, your body's going to become stressed due to the overload and outpour of emotions. So, the key here is to create a balance of healthy emotional release. So, if you feel an emotion, see where it's coming from, observe it, and then let it go and move on to something else. Emotions are meant to flow smoothly. You can also influence emotions on yourself. So, think of a good emotion or two that you want to feel every day, like joy. You wake up every morning and you meditate on the word joy. You then find things that help you feel that emotion. So, an excellent way to do this is with music. Music is a great way to stir up emotions. You can find a song that really makes you feel happy and joyful. Then play it every day during your morning routine. This way, the music will help you step into the feeling of joy, and then you can begin to carry that emotion out onto the rest of your day. I'll give you an example of a song I play almost every morning with my kids as we get ready to start our day. The song is called Happy by Pharrell Williams, and it has become a really fun part of our morning, and the kids look forward to it too. It's just a great way for us to get excited about the day and for them to face schoolwork in a good mood and with the right kind of emotions. It also helps me begin my workday from a good place emotionally too. And well, you're less able for things to like aggravate me when I get started. When I start my day out happy in a good emotional space, then stuff doesn't bother me. Like it can if you don't start out that way. Like the song says, bring me down, can't nothing. So it's also a good idea to reflect on your emotions and what you feel. So often we let them lead the way, and then we kind of act out in ways that we end up feeling regretful for later on. But by becoming more conscious of our emotions and how they make us react in the world, we can be better equipped to learn to consciously respond to life, even if it causes intense emotions to show up. We'll be more in control and less likely to fly off the handle. So, what emotions do you typically feel when you become stressed out? When was the last time you let an emotion get the best of you? Maybe you overreacted. What steps can you take to not explode like that the next time? See, emotions and memories are often stored together, and they can influence how we respond to the world around us. So it's a good practice to become aware of your emotions and to let them flow easily so that the energy can flow in your emotional body between the other bodies freely and you can maintain harmony and balance. Let's get into the mental body. Okay, so another thing, if your physical body is balanced and your emotions are balanced, balancing your mental body is more likely to happen too. So, what I mean is, like, if you are letting feelings come and go like they should, like waves, then your thoughts will too, and vice versa. So, if you're feeling upbeat and positive, then you're more likely to think positive thoughts too. That's why being in balance and harmony is so essential. And all of these cogs are like in the same wheel, so to speak. Okay, so the mental body is like where your thoughts are, but your beliefs, desires, values, opinions, and judgments are also in the mental body. Our mental body is where we do our processing of information and where we store knowledge. The mental body also has the survival mind, which is like our basic needs being met, and it also stores the intellectual mind, where we use logic and analytical thought processes. A major part of the mental body is our perception. Our perception shapes our reality. How we perceive the world is how we're going to show up in the world. You know, when you hear a loud noise at night and your skin tingles because you think someone's broken in to steal your kids away, only to find out the dog jumped off the couch and landed with a loud thud. Your body still got all tingly, like you were getting into a fight with a bear. But there was no child abductor and there was no bear. Yet your perception was that something terrible was in your house and your body responded to it. So while that might seem like an exaggeration, that's exactly how my perception used to work until I began working on balancing my four bodies. Our thoughts also become our reality. So if you're constantly thinking negatively or you have a lack mentality, then those things may just become true. Sort of like, be careful what you wish for. Well, if at the beginning of the month you are saying something like, I don't think I'm going to have the money for everything that I need this month, I won't have enough food, what am I going to do? You're more likely to experience that than if you had gone about it from a whole different mindset. So instead, you could say, I'm not sure how it's going to work this month. I just know that it will, and all of our needs will be met. Money will flow freely into my life from any and all sources. When you work to balance your mental body, you work on your mindset too. So, your mindset is powerful. You want to work on changing both your perception and your mindset. Um, you know the whole half empty, half full glass analogy? Well, this phenomenon has some truth to it. We typically do bring in what we perceive and what we think. So, here's a couple ways to ensure that you have a positive mindset and your perception stays positive as well. So, even if you have to start out lying to yourself first, eventually you'll begin to believe it. And once you believe the positive, and that's when the real magic can begin. Okay, so let's say you have like a victim mentality and the whole world is mean and out to get you. Change that. You will react defensively in all situations and your mental body will not be balanced. So let's work on our vocabulary. Um Take all of the negative words just out of your vocabulary. Changing the words that we say and the words that we think are great steps in the right direction to changing your mindset. So you can write down some positive or empowering words that you can begin to add to your daily conversations and thoughts. Then break down each aspect of your life, like work, relationships, finances, spirituality and religion, family, entertainment, and then write down each of the categories and write what negative words that you use regarding them. And then after you do that, you could write down the positive words that you use and add some words that are positive in there that you would like to start using. You can do this for each category of your life, and then you'll begin to see where you need the most work. So let's take money again, because money is so often like a hard thing for people. Not to mention, money problems are passed down through our DNA. So you may just have money issues that weren't even yours to begin with, but you're still playing them out. But the good news is you can change it. You're not doomed to be poor or have a bad way with money for the rest of your life. So, for example, let's say you say money all the time and you feel like you never have any money, or you're constantly worried about how you're going to get more money. See, you've already added a negative charge to that word, money. Let's change it to something else that's more positive. I like the word abundance. I'm going to allow abundance to flow to me this month from any and all sources. But you could use something else like finances. This month, my finances will balance out and we will have everything we need. Okay, so you also want to work on your story when you're working on your mental body. We've covered, vocabulary, and now we want to work on changing your story. So we all tell ourselves stories. These stories, they could have been shown to us in childhood or told to us in childhood, or we could have created stories when we were little or from bad experiences in the past. And now we still repeat these stories to ourselves. So let's use relationships. Maybe your parents had a bad relationship. So then you get in your first relationship and you are already sabotaging it because you keep telling yourself that they'll walk out on you because that's what your mom did, or it's not going to work out because people will always leave you. Maybe you had a parent who walked out on you as a kid. So from a young age, you told yourself that you just weren't worthy of love. So when you get into a relationship with someone who loves you, you do everything you can to push them away because of the story that you've been telling yourself since you were small. Now, let's look at it from a different point of view. Are you really destined to repeat the same life that your parents had? If if you had a parent who walked out on you, maybe they had a problem that had nothing to do with you. Maybe they didn't want to hurt you in their chaos. So maybe walking away was how they showed you love. One relationship in your life is not going to be the same as another, and so on. But we tell ourselves these little stories to prevent us from getting hurt. But do they really? No. Most of the time, our little stories not only hurt us, but they hurt the other people who are trying to love us too. So look at your life in the same categories we talked about a minute ago and write down all the stories that you tell yourself regarding each of these categories. Like, what do you tell yourself about love and romance? What do you tell yourself about work and career? What do you tell yourself about church? What story do you tell yourself about God? Maybe the God from your childhood is not really the an accurate story of God in your life now. And maybe you need to revisit the story. Once you write all these stories down, then read them over and see which ones are negative and most likely not correct. Maybe they were, right and correct for you at one point in your life, but now these stories just don't make any sense. So now you can change the story. If I get a new job, then this will happen. If I get into a new relationship, then this is what I expect from them. You create these positive new stories so that you can keep your perception and your mindset positive and balanced. Okay, now let's jump into the last one, and that's the spiritual body. Um, the spiritual body is our connection to everything. This is our connection to God, to the earth, our ancestors, nature, our higher selves, the universe, basically anything that is bigger than ourselves. Your spiritual body connects you to the energy. Let's say you're religious. If so, this is where you feel your connection to God and to your church and the people in your church. If you're more spiritual, you will feel connected to your inner world, to God, of your understanding, and your higher self. When we feel unconditional love all around us, that's when our spiritual body is balanced. When we go outside and we can feel the small animals playing together in harmony, we can hear the river gurgling by, we can smell the pine trees, and everything makes us feel like inner peace and calm. This comes from our spiritual body. Think of the spiritual body as like your channel into higher knowledge and love from up above or out or under or wherever you want to think of it coming from. So I always want my spiritual channel to be open. As a coach and as a writer, I need to be connected to my source and my flow state, which comes from having a balanced spiritual body. And then, of course, the energy moves through the rest of me all the way to the physical body. I like to think like of the magnetic field around us as the spiritual body, the outside layer, like a subtle body. So, anytime we feel energy from other people, we feel it in this body. So, for example, you walk into a room and you can just feel something bad about a person. Maybe you get like sick to your stomach, or when you are around someone that you love and you feel butterflies and your heart races and you start shaking. I believe that's your spiritual body connecting, and you can feel their energy like entangled with your energy. This is a big thing for the twin flame community. When twin flames are around one another, they can feel their energy from like way across the room, and their souls are just magnetized to each other throughout like the meshing of their energetic fields. But you can also have your spiritual body like off balance. Your intuition or gut feeling may be off. So you can have an overdrive of it, and maybe you feel anxious all the time, or maybe you're not able to intuitively know things like you used to. Maybe you stop being able to see through people's lies like you used to. So, to get our spiritual bodies back into harmony, we can first and foremost learn to meditate. Meditation is the number one way to align our spiritual body, but it must become a routine. You can skip a day here and there, but they say 21 days to start a new habit, which can cause a new neural pathway to form in the brain. So I'd say try to meditate for 21 days in a row first without missing any days. Then, if you have to miss a day here or there, you can, but not more than one in a row, or you'll slowly start to lose your habit. It's the same with like yoga or any other kind of practice that you want to add. You can work with Qigong too, which is similar to yoga, but you work more with the energy directly, I think, than yoga. I love both, but you may like one more than the other, and maybe neither one resonates with you, and that's fine. You can find something that works for you. You can try energy work like Reiki, acupuncture sessions, or even massages, dry needling, things like that, to work on like the energy meridians in the body. You can also just surrender to God or develop a relationship with God or whatever you deem higher than yourself. Simply just believing that something greater than ourselves is out there, form a relationship with it. Pray to whatever you want to pray to. Simply just get into these practices that will help you keep your energy body aligned. Also, when you're working on your spiritual body, you're going to have to watch what you say and think. So try not to lie and steal. When we're dishonest, we cause our spiritual body to get out of alignment. There's something about having morals and sticking to them that keeps our conscience clear and our four bodies in alignment. Well, now you know a little bit more about the four bodies. I hope you found some tips that you can put into place to working on keeping your own in balance. So until next time, don't forget to unleash your healing vibes.